Welcome back to the Save It for Parts channel. One of my #1 questions in the comments when I do one of my videos on DIY or secondhand garbage dumpster dive satellite dishes is, can I use this old DirecTV Dish Network Bell TV dish on my roof? Now, I've done a couple videos where I reuse old dishes like that for various things, mostly so far for geostationary satellites. I have not done a video yet on using one of those dishes for low Earth orbit satellites like the NOAA series, the METOP series, the Meteor series. These are all L-band satellites whizzing overhead a couple times a day, giving us a nice live picture of what's going on in the ground. Most recently, I've been using this 30-inch antenna for that kind of satellite, but can we actually use one of these little rooftop dishes that are around everywhere? Well, I happen to have one somewhere down here in the pile. So technically, this one is not a rooftop dish. This is another portable satellite dish. It looks like your standard regular rooftop dish that you see everywhere, but it folds up. This one is meant, again, like most of my other antennas, for camping, RVing, ice fishing. It's supposed to be something you fold up, and again, it's not super convenient to actually fold it here. All right, I give up. Anyway, this is one of these antennas that you buy when you want to go on a nice, relaxing vacation out to the middle of nowhere, but you can't stand to give up football or news or whatever you're addicted to on the television. This is potentially a good example for what you can do with one of your rooftop dishes. One of the main drawbacks of those DirecTV, Dish Network, etc. rooftop dishes is they are so small. They are really too small for a lot of geostationary satellite signals other than television. TV satellites are blasting out high-powered signals. Everything else is relatively low power, so you need a bigger dish to get weather satellites like GOES. You need a bigger dish to get any of the free television stations. Little dishes like this are fairly useless. However, since people keep asking, can you pick up some of these L-band low Earth orbit satellites, like the NOAA series, Meteor, METOP, whatever, can you use a small rooftop dish? And since this is even smaller, I want to go out and try it. If I can get those satellites with this thing, then you should be able to get them with that random dish you found on your house, or the one you found on the side of the road, or whatever. Those are typically a little bit bigger than this. So I think this is a good test subject to see what we can do with one. I got this thing for free with one of the little radome dishes that I've been picking up online. Somebody just didn't want this, so they threw it in. First off, to convert this over to a useful satellite dish, we want to remove the television LNB. I kind of want to take note of where the focal point for this is. I could figure it out later on with some math or an online tool, but it's easy enough while it's already set up to just measure how far out is the LNB from the reflector. And that's our focal point, so any replacement antenna feed that we put on needs to be in the same spot to get the best signal. This one seems like it's 13 inches from the center of the dish, or about 11.5 inches from the bottom of the dish. Basically 5 inches from right here. I have to say this springy arm is pretty entertaining. Yeah, if I don't end up keeping this as an antenna, I'm sure I can come up with some other stupid use for it. Now, the LNB on your Dish Network or DirecTV dish is probably actually easier to take off than this. Usually there's just a little compression release thingy that you pop, and you don't actually need a wrench or anything. This particular one is a Dish Network LNB, so it's around 12.2 to 12.7 gigahertz. So I have this other nice pile of satellite junk that I haven't gotten around to using yet. I'm thinking I want to use a helical antenna feed to replace the LNB. The signals coming down from most of the L-band satellites, especially the weather satellites, are circularly polarized. So a helix antenna like this is pretty ideal for picking them up. However, this one is for S-band. We want to look at L-band. Let's see. I've got this one that I made for L-band. It's a little bit funky. Didn't quite come together very well, and the back plane on it, the ground plane, is way too big. That would just block half the signal, so we're not going to use that one. When I do the GOES satellite, the geostationary satellite, we usually use a linear feed, like this one. It's a cantenna. That would only get half of the signal of a circular polarized feed, so we won't be using that either. Now, I have another 3D printed scaffolding here for L-band. This is 1700 megahertz. Left polarization, so the signals coming down from the satellite are actually right-hand circularly polarized, so they come in a right-hand spiral, but since it's bouncing off a reflector on the dish, the antenna sees it as a left-hand signal, left-hand polarization. This is one of Derek SGC's designs on Thingiverse. My 3D printer hates these things, so it printed this all funky. I think it's still gonna work. Yeah, I've been having ongoing issues with the 3D printer not being able to handle antenna scaffolds like this. So I was going to use this 3D printed L-band scaffolding for my antenna feed, but you know what? Not everybody has one of these. If I'm trying to show how anybody can do this, not everybody has a 3D printer. And if you do, if you have a 3D printer like me, it might suck. Even mine doesn't print this very well, so we're not going to use this. I'm going to take this old scrap of copper wire, try to straighten that out as much as I can, get some of the worst bends out of it. Coil this around a 1.5 inch PVC pipe. We've got all the dimensions basically correct, and we're just going to stick that back on our piece of pipe. We're going to cut the pipe off and we're going to duct tape this in place. But first I have to put that back end on. I'm going to make a couple more ground planes. So I've cut the bottom out of the beer can, smashed it flat. Okay, now we're getting into the realm of stuff you'll have to buy. This is an SMA antenna connector, basically a surface mount antenna connector. You could use different ones. You could use VHF, you could use something from a CB radio, but you'll still need to adapt down to SMA at some point. So I'm just going to start with that. And just like most of my other radio projects, you will also need an RTL SDR. This is a software-defined radio. There are other ones available out there. This is just the one I happen to like a lot. I will put the link to that down below in the description. We will also want a Newelec Sawbird Goes or Sawbird Plus Goes LNA filter. So this thing amplifies and filters your signal, basically blocks out all that annoying stuff that you don't want, like cell phone, TV, FM radio, any of the junk that isn't on the frequency we're looking at. And in this case, the frequency is about 1.7 gigahertz. They make other LNAs, they make stuff for VHF satellites, they make stuff for Iridium, Inmarsat, radio astronomy, all kinds of cool products. This will be in the links down below as well. We're going to want a couple of these SMA adapters, and we're going to want an extension cable. Again, often comes with the SDR package or cheap on Amazon. I'm going to punch a hole in my professional ground plane here. Make that a little wider just so we're not connecting the ground to the center pin. Look, this isn't rocket science here. It took rocket science to get the satellites up there. All we need to listen to the satellites is some plumbing parts and a little ingenuity. We want to carefully mount our antenna connectors so the center pin goes through the hole and the ground, that's everything else here, just touches the outside. Got some little tiny screws here. I don't want these screws sticking out like this on the back side, so I'm going to chop them off with a Dremel. Just to make extra sure everything stays in place, we've got some hot glue. I thought about just doing hot glue here, but the screws actually help maintain a good electrical connection between the ground of this antenna connector and our ground plane. Next comes another kind of finicky part. We want to solder the flat part of our spiral here onto the center pin. We want to keep this first little section of wire before it really starts spiraling up into the helix. That first section you want to keep parallel to the ground plane as much as possible, but you don't want it to actually touch the ground plane. So we're going to bend this just a little bit. This is tricky for me. I am not very good at soldering, so this might take me a couple tries. This little fidgety clampy clip thing that I got from Axeman Surplus really helps with this. Lets me hold all my multiple stuff in the right locations. Okay, we've got that soldered in place. We've got the first partial turn of this coil basically parallel with our flattened beer can. Carefully put our pipe back into our helical antenna. Some more hot glue to hold that in place. And then a little bit of duct tape to hold our wire in place. All right, that looks like a professional space antenna feed to me. Now we've done duct tape and hot glue, but it wouldn't be the Save It for Parts channel if we didn't also have some zip ties. So I'm going to use those and some scrap pieces of wood to position our antenna feed. Now another question I've been asked is when you're positioning your helical feed like this in the focal point of the dish, what part of the feed do you want to be in the focal point? This is kind of a long thing, and the focal point is a mathematical point. It's somewhere in here, basically. Do we want the feed in like this? Do we want it out like that? Do we want the focal point to be in the middle? I don't remember. I don't remember what the math says for these things. So usually what I do is make this so I can adjust the thing in and out, and then I will aim it at some known source, and I'll just move it in and out until I get the best signal, and then I'll secure it in place and we'll call it good. And just loosely zip tie that in place. So here's where the Sawbird Goes filter comes in. That gets connected directly onto the back of the antenna with the input end. If you've watched my videos for a while, you've seen all this stuff before. I never quite know how much of this to do as a how-to video, since in a lot of my videos I'm doing things for the first time. Like, I've never done a PVC pipe antenna quite like this before, so this isn't exactly a how-to walkthrough because it's an experiment for me, and I'm going to see how well this works right along with you guys. And the output into this goes down to our SDR unit, which will plug into a computer. As I said, I'm not sure how far in or out my helical feed wants to be to get the maximum signal from that dish. So I'm going to take this outside, aim it at the Goes East geostationary weather satellite. I won't be able to actually decode a image signal from that because this dish is far too small. But I should be able to see the EM wind signal, the Emergency Manager Weather Information Network signal. Looking at that on a software-defined radio on SDR++, it's the small signal off to the left of the main Goes satellite signal. If I can move my antenna elements around and maximize the apparent strength of that signal, then I know everything's pretty well lined up on the antenna and we're ready to do something else. Okay, in this case it turns out right where I had it is the best signal, with the focal point basically in the center of this helix. Now, I don't know why that works. I don't know if that works with every helix, with every dish, but for this particular thing, finally handcrafted out of zip ties, duct tape, and hot glue, that's where the focal point is. So I've locked this in place with additional zip ties. Now we're ready to look at some low Earth orbit satellites. Now this is another tricky part. Because this is an offset dish, it's not very intuitive of where to point it. The signals are coming in something more like this, bouncing down to the reflector, with a prime focus dish where the receiver's in the center of a big bowl. You point the whole bowl directly at the satellite. With this thing, you have to kind of remember how far off to point it, how far down to point it. It's not intuitive at all. So I'm going to use my little dish pointing app on my phone, Stellarium, and I'm going to try to do my best and track this through the pass of a low Earth orbit satellite. We have one of the NOAA series coming over in about 5 minutes, so that's going to be a good test for this. We'll get the SDR recording on the laptop, we'll get it tuned into the right frequency, and I'm just going to hand track this thing around. I was able to get a little bit of data from NOAA 19, which proves that my antenna is working and the concept is valid here. All right, we've rigged up something slightly different to hold the phone. It's still not perfect, but we're gonna try the next satellite here. I think that worked a little bit better. The laptop is starting to overheat out there in the sun, so we've brought it into the garage. And I'm going to run this through SatDump. So this was a NOAA HRPT signal. That was the L-band, the high-resolution picture transmission signal. And we are going to open up a folder to put that into. Just use that one. And then we're going to open the baseband recording that we got with SDR++. That is this one. And then let's process that and see if we got anything better than last time. It already looks better. We've got that nice dual-lobed signal here. All right, that came out a little bit better than NOAA 19, but it's still not perfect. There's a lot of static. I'm still having a lot of trouble keeping the dish centered on the passing satellites, especially if there's any wind. And this little Stellarium app really doesn't help. I still have ongoing issues with that. If I set the phone down for a second, it switches over to landscape mode and refuses to go back into portrait mode. When in doubt, use more duct tape. So this is just holding my phone in place so we can use the Stellarium app as the heads-up display, and then we can tilt the entire antenna and follow that satellite as it passes by. Right now I've got it aimed at Goes 16. That's a nice, stable, geostationary satellite. It's not going to move relative to me on the ground, so I can get the antenna position just right, and then get the phone aimed where Stellarium is pointing right at Goes 16, and then I know everything's pretty much lined up. All right, that one looks a little bit better. Again, not perfect, but this is pretty decent for a hand-tracked L-band HRPT signal with a very small satellite dish. As I've established in other videos, I am not a very good antenna mount, so this is about the best hand tracking I can do. If we had a nice tripod, if we had a motorized antenna mount, I think we could get a much better signal with this. So there we go. To answer a frequent question in my comments, can we use a small TV dish like this for anything interesting? Yes, we can. We need a little bit of plumbing, a little bit of copper wire, some duct tape, zip ties, hot glue, and then of course our friends the RTL SDR and the new Alex Sawbird. And we've got an HRPT L-band microwave antenna. It's a little bit small still, it's a little bit hard to hand track, so it has some downfalls and shortcomings, but for something I threw together in about 15 minutes out here in the garage from just junk I had lying around, I'm pretty happy with it. If you wanted to do this yourself, you could certainly do a better job, you could certainly make a better mount. I just wanted to do it as a proof of concept because people kept asking about it, and I had this little tiny dish cluttering up my garage. I hope this has been a useful video for everyone. I will throw some more information down in the description as well as links to all the equipment that I have here, at least the equipment I purchased. It's up to you to find the rest of this in the trash somewhere the way I did. Check out my other satellite related videos for DIY antennas, different motor mounts, experiments, all kinds of stuff like that, and then stay tuned to see what else we come up with. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.